Hello and welcome to the Form Home Edition. We've got plenty for you on the show this afternoon, as well as previewing today's races. We'll also be looking ahead to a big weekend of racing. Let's get into it and have a little look at the rundown. We kick things off with Bevan Sweeney in an Otaki gallops preview. We then get to Pip Morris, who talks us through the Cambridge Dogs, as well as a really strong card from Addington. We then head south, Invercargill harness preview with Justin Evans, before Hawke's Bay Racing CEO Darren Balcom talks us through that Tarzino Trophy Day meeting on Saturday. Jockey Lisa Allpress joins us to talk through her big book of rides at Otaki this afternoon, as well as Saturday's big day of racing. Jonathan Riddell on call sign Mav, and then we get across the ditch to James McDonald. We revisit that interview, where this time he talks us through his Saturday rides, of course featuring Kiwi star Very Elegant. Wrapping up the show, as always, with our best bets. Well, to kick things off here on the form, we start with the gallops preview. Otaki races this afternoon. Bevan Sweeney links in with us for that. Bevan, great to have you on the show. What are you liking on that small and select program there at Otaki?
Yeah, small in numbers, Emily, both races and horses wise, and I think it's a trick this afternoon. Read these track conditions. It has been very, very wet through the Manawatu and Wanganui area, and Otaki has copped a fair bit of that particular weather. So I expect it to be very, very deep this afternoon at Otaki, and maybe some more rain still to come. So it's a real watch that makes it very, very tricky. I'm going to take you to the last race on the program, race number 6. Now, I'm not sure where track conditions will land at this sort of time of this afternoon. So C Star for Lisa Allpress and Rosie Hackett. They've combined on many occasions to get the victory for us. This horse has been up in Premier Day 65s and has been running with great credit. A little bit unlucky behind Zoe Seton, who's a very talented horse at Wanganui last time. Just missed behind, surprised me here previously on a heavy 11 track condition. Yes, it has to carry the 60 kilos. However, I think this race really does suit my eye for C Star, and I think he can pick up win number 4 at start number 43. And the second horse I'll give you for today is a watch, really, rather than a strong selection. Meritary Master for Buddy Lamison Lee Hemi goes around in race number 5. Now, this is a son of Meritary Miss, who was a very, very good mare herself and went around in some very, very good company. Hyperion Canto, who's having a heck of a season already when you look at the stats coming out of Hong Kong. This was trot up beautifully at Foxton on the 2nd of September, ran 64.72, which was just okay time on the day, but did it very, very easily. It's going to be on debut on a heavy 11 track condition, which will make it very, very interesting. But I do think it is a horse with a fair bit of ability. It's bred to be a nice animal. And I think from the trial, the suggestion is that it will step up in time, maybe a heavy 11. Might not be the day to be playing too hard into it, but it is a watch horse for me. So C Star in the 6th, Meritary Master in race number 5 this afternoon.
Great stuff. Thanks for that, Bevan. Now we head to the Greyhounds. Pip Morris joins us on the show. Pip, we've got loads to get through this morning. We've got the 2 meetings, of course, Cambridge and Addington, a really top quality meeting at Addington. Let's have a little chat about Cambridge first to get that out of the way. What have you got as your best bet on the card from there?
Just a small 8-race program at Cambridge there, Emily. So I've gone for race number 7, the best bet, the 1 Calf King. Unfortunately, did fall last start, but had a slight freshen up. Comes into a race where he's got 2 dogs that like to move away from the rail. So I just think it gives him the room to move, and he's got really good statistics from that inside alley.
And what about a value bet on that card at Cambridge?
Really struggled to find value, to be honest, but I've come up with a dog in race number 5 called Ruby Express. She downgrades out of class 3, back into C2 company, loves the red rug as well. I think the main danger in there is Spring Sesk, but they should be fighting it out.
And of course, as we mentioned at the beginning, is a really good card coming in from Addington, and there's lots to dissect here. I thought we could start with the feature race, the 9th on the card, and Opawa Superstar living up to its namesake, 5 from 5. Can it make it 6 from 6, Pip?
Look, he certainly is. I think so, Emily, because he's been racing the similar field weekend and he's been beating them, and I was happy to play him on top again. Comes up with box number 4. I think his main rival is from his kennel, Jane and Dave Fahey, of course, with half the card, half the field, I should say. And look, Apawa Anita looks the main danger off the Ace Alley, but he's just got this real turn of foot. So I think I can see him winning that again. But look, it's a nice field to play into.
There's a couple of other races that we need to highlight, including that 8th on the card. And I know Effort Cruise was a dog that you were keen to chat about.
Certainly am. This is a dog for Janine McCook. And look, he'd been really luckless to start to go in New Zealand Nationals middle distance. He ran second behind No Keeper, who's a Group 1 winner, and he actually collided with Big Time Cooper up the straight. After that, of course, he took out the Invercargill Cup just on Sunday. Certainly deserved that win, Emily. It's a really nice field. You've got the New Zealand Cup winner in there, Rock On John, but I think he can grab another for Janine McCook.
And then finally, race number 7, the My Redeemer distance feature. There's a dog in there, It's a Blaze, who you were telling me has the track record at the middle distance, but stepping up to the staying distance today.
He certainly does, and he's got an absolutely flying time around there, 29.4. Steps to the 645-metre race, and I have to say it's an amazing middle distance race. If you're a Greyhound fan, I don't want to miss it, but I just think he's got too much pace. And even over the 520, when he's not quick away, he's just got this really powerful finish, suggesting that the 645 won't be a problem.
Great stuff, Pip. Really looking forward to that meeting coming from Addington. Very high quality. Up next, we head south to the harness, and Justin Evans joins us. Justin, great to have you on the show. Looking forward to that Invercargill meeting we've got coming up this afternoon.
Yeah, just an 8-race card, Emily, but the weather's been good down here this week. So, yeah, really looking forward to the card. And I think a man to watch, Emily, is one of our local juniors, Mark Harrell, who, of course, importantly, is actually a Blue September ambassador driver as well for the Prostate Cancer Foundation and their campaign. And Mark's actually got half of the country as sponsors. So every time he gets a win, he gets a whole lot of cash in the bin. Reckon he could do it just about twice, Emily, on today's program. Going to make him the best of the day with a mare called Better Galleon. Now, she comes up in race number 6. She's dropped into a very winnable race here, I think. Look, she's beaten better fields than this. In fact, this time last year, she was in really good form. Actually won a race and went quicker than 2:42 one day here at Invercargill. Loved her first up run. She ran second after a bit of a spell to a really smart horse called Can't Find a Better Man, who he'll go around on Sunday, actually, at the Hannon Day here to Oamaru. Look, I think she's the one to beat. There's probably the only one in the race who could beat her, which will be Art Courage. I'm anticipating Art Courage is a horse who may find herself shorter in the betting than Better Galleon. I'm with Better Galleon, reckon she's a cracking bet, so we'll make her the best of the day. Also, Mark drives a trotting mare a little bit later on, race number 7, number 11, Majestic Action, who's down in the deep south for Trent Yersberg. We don't see Trent down these parts too much. He's got a couple in for the card today. I think Majestic Action's a horse who should be winning, going on her form at Addington. Just has to get around the tighter circuit here at Ascot Park, I suppose, but looks a highly winnable race. I think they're both really, really good bets, and I'll be surprised if one of them doesn't win. So race 6, number 7, Better Galleon, race 7, number 11, Majestic Action, both for Mark Harrell, so good luck to him.
Love it. Thanks, Justin. And I know you've got a value for us as well, kicking things off early because it's in the first of the day, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Look, I don't think she'll be huge odds here, Emily, but she'll certainly have a couple in front of her in the betting. I think she just about wins. Cool Idea in the first. She's an underrated maiden who was excellent at Wyndham last week. She just got beaten there to a pretty smart horse, a Major Sweetheart. Now, there was a huge slice of real estate back to third of that race. It was a very good run. In fact, one of her race rivals today, Seventh Heaven, ran third, but she was 10 lengths away. She's a pretty gritty mare, this. I think if she's driven tough, she'll outslog them. Cool Idea. I think she's hard to beat. Like I say, I think she'll be a little bit of value in the first. So hopefully she can get herself on the right foot of the first, Emily.
You briefly touched on it earlier on, but of course on Sunday we do have the Hannah Memorial, that Group 3, and just wanted to pick your brain a little bit about the day. And of course, Classy Brigade, can this horse make it back-to-back wins in the race?
It's got to be a big chance to do it. You're really terrific field as always, with a hand in the biggest harness race in Otago, obviously, and a real stepping stone to the Carnival at Addington and the New Zealand Cup. There's been many go on and score in the New Zealand Cup over the years. Look, he's got to be a big chance. He's a professional horse. Went super again at Addington the other night after the first up win. His standing start matters are impeccable. He's drawn nice and handy. The draw is really going to aid his cause to win 2 in a row. But look, it's a good field, Emily. And Pembroke Playboy, he's the real southern hope, of course, from the deep south for Nathan Williamson. He had such a terrific season last year. Anybody who saw the trial at Wyndham last week, we got that to trackside, of course. He went to the line full of running. He's got a ton of ability, and he's come back even better from all reports, Pembroke Playboy. So I think he's Classy Brigade's biggest opposition, but Classy Brigade certainly hard to handle. Can't wait to be calling the Hannon. Called Classy Brigade home last year in my first year of the Hannon. He'll go close to winning again, but make sure you're with us on Sunday for the Hannon. Should be a terrific contest.
Great stuff, Justin. Enjoy that meeting this afternoon as well, coming in from the Invercargill racetrack.
Will do. Thank you very much.
Weekend of racing coming up from Hawke's Bay. We're joined by the Hawke's Bay Racing CEO and Darren Balcombe to talk through all of the initiatives and exciting things that are happening for Tarzino Race Day on Saturday. Darren, a very warm welcome. It must have been really hard for you to plan this meeting and put things in place with the current situation around the country, with alert levels and things changing all the time.
Yeah, it has been a bit of a awkward time to organise events, I think, for everyone around the country, with the changing levels and just the uncertainty, I guess, about where we were going to be. We're in the same boat this meeting last year, so it's a bit of deja vu. Unfortunately, we can't have public here on the day, but we have been able to secure 4 groups of 50, which will be made up of generally just owners and sponsors, but they'll be fully named and that. And we'll be keeping them all apart and following all the COVID protocols and whatnot, but it's just great to be able to give, especially the Group 1 owners, that opportunity to be on course to see their horse, because it is a dream of everyone to have a runner in a Group 1, and we're just happy that we can at least have some people here.
Yeah, exactly right. Another spanner in the works has been the weather. I know the Hawke's Bay region has been desperate for rain. What's it been like this week, and what are the track conditions as we speak?
Yes, it's one of those things again. You're in the middle of a drought, really, for the remainder of the year, and you schedule a race day and we get rain. So, we've had 5 mil early in the week. We're sitting at a 2.7 dead 4 currently. The forecast was absolutely awful earlier. We were going to get 90 odd mil on Thursday, Friday. That's sort of come back a little bit, but I was still expecting around the 20 to 30 mark on Thursday, Friday. So depending on how much of that we do get, the track will be anywhere from 6 to 9. But we're all dependent on the lap of the gods. We haven't irrigated this week. It just depends what we get really later in the week.
Let's move on to some positive things, because there are lots of exciting things happening with regards to the race day. Tell me about you teaming up once again with the Hawke's Bay Cancer Society for this wonderful concept. Yes,
it's an absolutely brilliant day, the Daffodil Race Day. It's been going now for, I think, around 12 years. And it's one of the major fundraisers for the Cancer Society here in Hawke's Bay. Until 2 years in a row, they've had their street appeal cancelled, unfortunately, due to COVID. So we will just try and do our bit. We do donate the gate takings from this day, which we're unable to do this year, of course, because we don't have public here. But we've got a couple of other initiatives which we've managed to put in place to try and derive as much as we can for them. We've got the daffodil colours, so we'll be having the daffodil colours on a jockey or jockeys during the day, depending on the regulations through the day. So we'll find jockeys with a strong book of rides and look at favourites. And every time those daffodil colours roll home first, the TAB will donate $2,000 to the Hawke's Bay Cancer Society. So that's a great initiative, and we're very pleased and appreciative of the TAB for supporting that. We've also got a new initiative this year, which is the Tarzino Trophy Daffodil Punters Club, which will hopefully go online later today. We'll be selling that via the TAB website. So if people want to get involved in this punters club, they can hopefully make a profit and support a great cause. The club will be donating our 9.5% that we get as a commission for the on-course turnover directly to the Cancer Society. So the bigger the pool and the more we can turn over through the day, the bigger donation that'll go to the Cancer Society. And we've got an absolutely brilliant panel of hopefully winning selectors. We've got commentator Bruce Sherwin, Waikato CEO Butch Castles, who both are very good form analysts, and also the Boys Get Paid team, who really know their stuff, and I'm really appreciative that they've come on board with this initiative as well. So hopefully we can get a good starting pool and everyone can get involved and we can turn over some money and get a great donation and do a great cause, really.
Yeah, and exactly. If you can't go on track, which you can't at the moment, then that's a really fun way to get involved. And I was having a look on the TAB website. If you head to the racing section, there's a tab there, Punters Club. And if you want information around that Punters Club, it is available through the Punters Lounge on the TAB website. Darren, thank you so much for your time. Really looking forward to that race day. Great horses lining up, and as we've heard from you, some wonderful concepts too.
You know, we're very excited. It's always exciting to have the first Group 1 of the season. Looking forward to it.
Well, on the form this week, we're catching up with Lisa Allpress. She's a busy lady and she's got a busy day at Otaki coming up. Lisa, thought we could have a chat through your rides. Great to get you on the show.
Thanks, Emily. Thanks for having me.
Let's go through all of your rides. Only the 6 races, and you have a ride in each of them, which is a good start. Race number 1, Bury the Cash. I thought this was a good chance, obviously going up to the 2100 metres. It looks ideal.
Yeah, it does. He went, his first up run at Otaki, his very first start was very nice. He got a long way back. He was actually checked out of the barriers and then just made beautiful ground and was, not beaten very far. And then to go to the mile again, last start at Harbour, I think he just got a little bit out of his ground and was in amongst them at sort of a bit of a tricky point in the race, and he didn't really get clear running. He's sort of a very, very big horse, so he needs a bit of room and a bit of space. So I think the extra 500 metres will suit him tomorrow. He's a very, very big horse. I mean, he's a 5-year-old, so he's been given plenty of time. But he's actually part owned by some really good family friends of ours, and one of the owners we actually call Granddad. So Granddad's been on the phone trying to get me to ride this horse for a while. So it's I've got a lot to live up to, I think.
Yeah, special one for sure. Race number 2, you're on Cheeky As, but you've got a little bit of information for punters around McCushla as well, who you were supposed to ride.
Yeah, I was actually booked for McCushla, but just with the weight she has to carry fresh up and being a very, very heavy track tomorrow, Jono and Holly have elected to claim off her with Charlotte. So I had to switch to Cheeky As. So, but yeah, McCushla has actually had a jump out last week and went very, very well in a strong heat. So I was really happy with her, very much looking forward to her. So I think she'll be a big chance. But Cheeky As, this horse has had 15 starts since its last win. It's been a long time. Being a Z, possibly could really like those track conditions tomorrow. Did win on a heavy track, but it was a long time ago.
And then in race number 3, Catch You Later, a last start 4th and made up a nice bit of ground in that one.
Yeah, and it looks like it's not a very strong race this. So with the one barrier draw, I'll probably just have to be a little bit tactical early to get back and get onto some nice ground. And I think with these conditions tomorrow, it's just going to be a matter of keeping your horse balanced and trying to keep without any interference and just maintaining momentum to keep going forward. So I haven't actually ridden for Wayne Moorhead before, so this is my first ride for him, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. This horse has actually been going some nice races.
Race number 4, Canoe Cheer. You know this horse pretty well. You've ridden it this campaign. What did you take away from that last start 6th?
Yeah, I was really disappointed actually, and so was Royden. We just sort of wondered whether maybe she'd just done she went very well at the trials about a month ago, and then very nice in the first start run running third. So whether that had just taken a little bit out of her, not quite sure, but it was a disappointing run at Harbour. We thought she would have gone a lot better. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I think probably just riding her nice and positively again and putting her right in the race. And being by Z, she's another one that's hopefully going to love these conditions.
The penultimate on the card is race number 5, My Sally. What a consistent horse. You've ridden it at its past 3, only been beaten in small margins. What can make the difference? What can turn it around and make it a win?
I think tomorrow, so she perhaps just got a little bit away on Aloni. She said, with the races being cancelled or through lockdown, and she had her up and then she had to get her down and then bring her back up, and then the races weren't really suiting. So going into that start at Woodville last week, I think she was just a little bit fresh. She was right on her toes in the bird cage, and she zipped down to the start with her head in the air, and and then drawing one, she just three, she jumped and she just put herself there and over raced slightly. So I think the 9 barrier tomorrow is going to help. Alone loves her horses just to relax early, get cover and get off the bridle, and I think hopefully from that draw that should work out a little bit better tomorrow. And obviously the last run at Woodville taking maybe just bringing her down a level, and hopefully she'll be a little bit better behaved tomorrow, because she should really on form be winning this.
Yeah. And then race number 6, Star, gets the top weight, another horse that you know pretty well. What did you take out of that last start, 5th?
It's funny, I could talk all day about this horse. He's only a 3 winner and he's in 65 grade, but he's one of those horses, Emily, that I just hope that he comes out here after his racing career and sits in my paddock, because I've had so much to do with him. He's so lovely. He's the horse, and I've spoken about him many times before, that whenever I've been injured or had time off, he is the one that I go to the track to get my fitness back up on. And I get pretty much daily updates from Rosie Hackett about what he's up to and how many oats he's eaten and what his temperature is. So I know Star very, very well, and he doesn't go a bad race. He's just, he's a 9-year-old now, so he's got those older legs, and the field's not overly strong tomorrow, so hopefully he can put his best foot forward, although he is one of those horses we don't care what happens so long as he comes back safely. And had 23 rides on him now, so I'm getting to know him pretty well.
Yeah, exactly right. What about your best ride of the day there at Otaki?
Well, I think my best ride on form has to be my Sally, but I really liked the run of Bury the Cash last start, and also Catch You Later. And like I said, Can You See Her? She was disappointing last start, but I think take that run out and she'll be fitter for tomorrow. I think she could be a smoky as well.
We're obviously midway through the week, and Saturday, of course, we've got Group 1 racing returning at Hastings, and you have a ride in the big one in the form of Sauvignon Blanc, and she really runs a bad race, this horse, kicking off the campaign over the 1,400 metres. It's an exciting ride for you.
Yeah, it is. Obviously, anytime the phone rings and it's Jamie Richards, you're pretty happy to be riding his horses. Are very classy, and so I'm very fortunate to pick up that ride. This horse has placed in this race before. I really like she tries. I'm just honestly happy to have a ride in the race.
Hoodlum's another one who takes its place in the Sir Colin Meads Trophy. 1 start for 1 win, and you've caused an upset in these colours many times before. And what do you make of this horse?
He's such a nice horse. He's classy. Had he not missed that 2-year-old campaign through the injury, I think he would be a horse that you'd all be talking about, because I think he's probably one of the better horses I've sat on so far in my career. He's just classy, but it was only a 4-horse race that he won at Hawera, but if you do notice, I pulled him back from the 1 barrier, sat him in behind them and came round him, and he won without even getting the stick anywhere near him. So I just pushed him out hands and heels, and it was a slow time, but had he actually been asked further, I think he would have run faster and won by further. But apparently he's come through the race really well. I was just looking at the draws. He's not ideally drawn in 9 of 10, but I guess I will find out from Jono and Holly how they want him ridden, and whatever he'll do, he'll improve from that run, and I think he's going to be lovely in November when the Guineas comes around.
Yeah, one to follow, that's for sure. Platinum Machine in the Gold Trail. We last saw this horse in the Castletown Stakes and has trialled since with the Lisa Latter stable. What do you know about this one?
Yeah, I actually rode her at the trials a little while ago. I really liked her. She gave me a great feel, and I actually had rung Aidan and said to please keep an eye on this one. I quite like it, and we'll find out where she's off to. So, yeah, it was a nice horse.
And of course, your others on the card. I know you mentioned to me before, Old Town Road is in the last as one that you were looking forward to on Saturday. Yeah,
he's been a nice horse coming through at the end of last season and into this season. He's sort of, he's very, very raw. Like he's a very big horse, a very immature, and I think he gets away on Mr. Wyeth a little bit. He sort of he's quite strong-minded, this horse. He did go a very good race last start at Woodville with Wirramoo Pin in the saddle. I was committed to something else, so I did get a good watch of him in the running as well, and I spoke to Wirramoo afterwards, and he said that the horse was very relaxed, which was nice because he can get quite up on the bridle and does sort of want to do things too fast. But he's got a nice draw on Saturday. I think he's drawn 6, so that's good because he has been drawing the outside barriers and things haven't quite gone right in the races, but he's learning every time. And so to hear that he did settle in his last start and watching him get home, he was quite held up and then hit the line really well at Woodville. So I can imagine that, and that was over 1,200. So the 14's just going to suit him even more.
Just before we let you go, a quick word on Sir Nate for the Open 1600.
Yes, he won very well at the trials. He's had 2 trials leading into this campaign, and he's won them both. I rode him the first time and was very impressed with him, and then Faye Lizette rode him a couple of weeks ago, and Lisa said he was just doing it on his ear. So he's another horse, a huge personality, this horse. Quite another horse that just, you just love to ride all day. He's just gorgeous. So he is classy on his day, but first up, maybe a little bit susceptible.
And finally, Alchemia, I think you say it. Yeah, that one in the 1,200 metre race.
Yeah, this is turning into a very good race. I mean, special conditions, but there's a lot of very nice horses in there. She's only had 3 starts now for 3 seconds, and she was a little bit disappointing when she was beaten favourite at Hawke's Bay. I really thought she'd win that day, but I think she just had a very soft trial leading into it, and she probably just hadn't done quite enough, and she just sort of came around the corner with a handful, and she just sort of got there and then sort of went sideways, which we were all quite concerned about. She has had issues with her front legs, so I think we were all just worried about that. But to her credit, she picked herself up and she still ran second. It was a good effort. So I know Katrina's been working pretty hard on her, and by all accounts, this race has been set for her for a long time. So yeah, it was always the plan to run it in the special conditions, and she's pretty classy. She's never done anything wrong. She's a very nice horse, but it is a very good field. I see Sakura Blossoms in there, and I was very taken with that horse from the Benfoot stable, and it is a very, very nice horse. There's a lot of word about that, but so yeah, it will be a very good field.
Lisa, thanks so much for your time and for going through all of those horses with me. Best of luck at Otaki, and of course for the Group 1 there on Saturday at Hastings. Thank you.
Thank you too.
We now head out and about on the form. Aidan Rodley caught up with Jonathan Riddell earlier in the week as we count down to Tarzino Trophy Day. Jonathan chats about call sign Mav, the defending champion.
Jonathan, we'll get you here on a wet, cold morning, but we're back into Group 1 racing this weekend. That's pretty exciting, eh?
Yeah, it is for sure. It's it's not too bad today, Hayden, but looking forward to the weekend. Got some nice rides, so be good.
Obviously, the main one we're looking forward to is Call Sign Mav, who won this race so well last year. What did you make of his trial in the lead up to this? Yeah,
he's going super this year. I only got on him in the race last year, basically, and rode him in that. So I didn't ride him in the trials leading up, but he's doing everything we're asking of him, and to me, he's going better. But it is a Group 1.
Just tell us about last year's race. When you look back at it and the way it unfolded, how do you remember it?
Yeah, well, just going in and doing the form and just knowing that he'd been competitive in races as a 3-year-old, and I had a nice enough draw I had to push forward to get into a nice spot, so I worked on him for a good furlong, and yeah, it just opened up, and he was strong. He was strong.
One of the advantages of him last year was he was able to train on those good surfaces at Hastings, and it seemed to have him more forward than some of his rivals who had raced on wetter tracks. Is that the same case again this year, do you think?
Probably. The climate over there, and they're quite spoilt, the trainers over there, and John's got a great setup. His home track, where he does most of his work, is super. I went out and galloped him, given his first gallop way back. So, I think that's an advantage, and the sun over there, and but now it's probably playing field's a bit levelled up with the poly track here. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see how the season goes out like that.
One thing about him last year, his body of work was just excellent the whole way through. How did you assess what he did last preparation?
Oh, he was super, and he was sort of one of those good horses you want to ride, because every time he went to one of those races, I know he only won the one Group 1, but he was competitive in he placed in every one, so behind Avon Taj, and so, he's a top line horse.
Absolutely. Last year he went round at a very big price. He's a bit shorter this time round, so a little bit more expectation. Is that fair?
Yeah, but that's sort of got nothing. That means nothing to me. It's you just got to. When you're in those races, you've got to give everything a chance.
Yeah. When you've had a look, obviously they've been early noms. You know who you're up against. How does he measure up for you?
Oh, he measures up, but as I say, as you know, it's Group 1 racing, and they don't give them away.
Okay, it sounds like there's a bit of rain towards the end of the week especially. How does that affect his chances?
It won't worry him. He's competitive in anything, I think.
Okay. For you, obviously you're well experienced and picked up a lot of these Group 1s, especially at Hastings as well. What does it mean to a jockey leading into the first one of the season?
Oh, well, as a jockey, that's what you're here for. And as an older rider, that's basically all you're aiming for is the Group 1s. Yeah, it's nice winning races, but that's what we're in the game for, and yeah, the money helps.
Okay, and it's nice to be on a good horse going into it too.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
A big thanks to Jonathan Riddell and Aidan for that insight into the Tarzino Trophy. It's now time to head across the ditch. We revisit James McDonald, who we spoke to earlier in the week. This time we're catching up with him with regards to his rides on Saturday on a big day of racing out of New South Wales. Well, James McDonald back with us on the form, and this time to talk through all of his contenders on Saturday and what looks like an unbelievable day out at the races, James. Horses that you know really well, very elegant, nature strip. It's pretty exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, to turn up when nature strip and very elegant are running, it's always a big day. They've returned in super order as well, so looking forward to their second up runs, which they should be obviously getting near a peak. And they both come back in really good order, so looking forward to it.
Was interested to go through them with you, those main ones. Very elegant, obviously, in particular, in that George Main. Just went down by a lip, wasn't it, in the Wink Stakes? It was still a very brave effort. What's your opinion of her heading forward? Did you feel there was plenty of improvement in her?
Yeah, there has been. She's got a very long campaign, so Chris has obviously left a little bit in the tank there, and she definitely ran every bit as well as she's done first up before. She was off a lot wide run. I know there was a small margin between first and eighth, which didn't really look good to the eye, but in saying that, she did a lot of work through the middle stages of the race, and she had the audacity to fight on like she always does, but she'll improve a lot out of that run just with fitness, and getting to the mile at Randwick will really suit her as well, and as well as wet ground. So hopefully we get a bit of rain on Thursday just to keep that track in the soft range.
And obviously Nature Strip needs no introduction, and we saw him at his brilliant best in the Concord. I know he's a little bit of an enigma. He's a little bit hard to work out. I understand maybe not possible for you to go out and ride him track work, but what's the protocol with him? What's the mindset when you go to ride him in the shorts?
Yeah, no, he's. I think they're still in two minds whether they'll start as well. I'm hoping they do, because the rain's around. We're meeting a really good field, and he's had a run under his belt, so it gives him a little bit of an edge there. And he's returned in unbelievable order. I don't think I've experienced him over the last 4 years to return that well, especially leading into a campaign. It's normally he's a pretty slow beginner and eases into a campaign. But in saying that, he looks in a very good mindset, and he's pretty good when he's on song, and I think he's on song at the moment, and hopefully we'll see the best of him on Saturday. But he's definitely going to be peaking third up for sure.
In the Bill Ritchie, you ride Numerian, a first starter for Annabelle Neesham, and after Zaki, no doubt you're trying to get on all of the European imports coming out of Annabelle's. What do you know about this one?
Yeah, I don't know a lot about him, but he's got very good wet form, and I think any rain around will help him, which hopefully it stays around. He's trialled okay. It wasn't spectacular by all means, but he did his tradesman sort of work. Nothing flashy, but he got it got the job done. I know the connections think he's a much better 10 furlong horse, so this is obviously a kick-off point, but Annabelle's got a good handle on these Europeans and good handle on all her horses at the moment, and so she thinks he's definitely sharp enough for the 7 furlongs. So hopefully she's right and he runs pretty well, but whatever he does, he's going to improve a lot on.
In the Kingston Town Stakes, you've got the Queensland Derby winner in Cucaracha. Interested to hear your thoughts on that 8th in the Chelmsford.
Yeah, it was okay. He put in a super performance, probably overperformed there first up, and he had a little bit of a lull second up, which we'd expect from a 1.5 mile horse. But yeah, out to the right trip now, definitely gets his chance. I thought he had a bit of merit to his last start where he sat a little bit deep and the track deteriorated quite badly from races 6 to 10 that day. And so he was probably a little bit of a flattening run in terms of he just levelled out pretty early on in the straight and raced a little bit one pace, but I'd expect big improvement in this one.
And then She's All Class in the T-Rose, who came through that fresh run in the Furious Stakes. What do you like about this one?
I like how she was only beaten us pretty much a small margin, albeit 2 lengths. But I know Crystal would keep plenty in hand with it. She's got a long campaign ahead as well, and the 2 Group 1s are right at the end. So she's obviously had a little bit of a setback before that first up run, which is never ideal, and she's only been beaten a small margin. So there's definitely room to improve. I thought she could have done a little bit more with the run she had, but in saying that, we can't be too hard on her because a lot of the opposition had a run under their belt, so they definitely met a lot better with the fitness edge. But she's a talented filly, but very temperamental as well.
And they're the horses that you have coming up on Saturday, but some horses that you rode over the past couple of weeks. Zaki, what do you make of him heading potentially to Melbourne to the Underwood Stakes? Must be frustrating to not be able to go and be there yourself.
Yeah, it is, but it is the way of the world at the moment. Everyone's probably missing out a little bit on something, so it's just the way it is. But we're very hopeful we might get down there for a Cox Plate, and if we can, well, I'd love to be obviously round the mark with him, but he's going to have two or three runs in Melbourne, finishing with the Cox Plate. He'll take Melbourne by storm. I feel he's obviously a very good horse by the performance he's put in here in Australia, and he's only going to live up to that, which I'm sure he will. He's a very confident horse, trained by a very good trainer, ready to rock and roll.
Were you surprised with what he did in a fresh stake? Because I know it shocked me. I thought, okay, we'll wait till he gets up over those further distances, but he was devastating fresh.
Yeah, he was. I expected him to run very well. I didn't expect him to win in the fashion he did, especially because he was just exceptional the way he just loomed into a race. He travelled very, very much like a sprinter and let down like a sprinter. So you never know, though, with those sort of 10 furlong horses second up, that might be a little chink there. But in saying that, he's returned in really good order, and he's just such a confidence horse. And when he struts into the birdcage, they'll know he's there for sure on Underwood Stakes Day.
Animo was another one who provided you with a victory, of course, at Kembla Grange, another super exciting horse. Do you feel there's plenty of improvement in him post that win? Yeah,
I feel he'll improve. He was pretty much tuned up to go there on Saturday, and he put in an exceptional performance. A lot of these horses obviously have got bigger targets in mind, so there is always a little bit in store. But he probably paraded the worst out of the whole field in terms of he was sweating up. He's got quite long hair. The coat hasn't come through yet, his summer coat, so you can tell there's a lot of improvement to come. But in terms of fitness and everything, he's probably around the mark. He's just a very highly tuned athlete. Like he's very fit. He gets himself fit. He's very economical in the way he does things. But very talented colt, and he's obviously going to be very hard to beat in the Golden Rose, stepping out to 7 furlongs. And I'm hoping it will be at Randwick.
Another Kiwi who provided you with a win was Entrevier. Give us the feedback from her on Saturday. Really good for everyone at home to see her running right up to what we expected.
Yeah, she was super. She's been working really well. She put in a really nice trial there, but she just jumped out of the ground since that trial. Really did. She obviously coming off a little setback with the hoof. She was ready to run 3 weeks ago, and I'm actually glad she didn't, because she wasn't really that well at the weights and everything. So it was a lovely kick-off point for her the other day, and she come through it in flying colours. But her performance against good quality opposition, good quality mares, that's all she's going to be facing from here on in, which is quite exciting, because I thought she performed so well on that firm ground, which I thought a little bit of give in the ground would just help her a lot more. And but she's got some lofty targets in store for her, and I'm sure she'll be running very well in whatever she runs in.
James, thanks so much for your time. Great to get all of your insight into all those horses, and best of luck for the coming weeks.
Pleasure. Thank you.
A big thanks to James McDonald for his time. So much to look forward to when it comes to spring racing. Now on the show, let's recap our best bets.
Forget about the stoplight, no time for second place. Pedal to the metal, it's the thrill of the chase. I'll find a way to win the race.
Well, that's it. Another show done and dusted here on The Form. Big thank you to our guests, and I hope you've enjoyed that insight into this afternoon's racing, and of course the big day on Saturday. We'll be back tomorrow with more here on The Form.